Welcome to Mulready Minutes with Oklahoma Insurance Commissioner Glenn Mulready. This is a podcast about insurance for insurance folks, risk managers, and business leaders. We'll dive deep and look at what is and isn't working, talk to leaders in the industry, and keep you informed on what's happening in Oklahoma and around the country.
Welcome to another Mulready Minutes. We are glad you've joined us here. We have a special guest who's back with us for a second time. And so without any further ado, let me introduce Heather McClure. Quickly read her bio. General Counsel and Chief Risk Officer Heather McClure has decades of experience managing client risk inside law firms and organizations, overseeing risk financing, risk management, insurance procurement, captive operations, and claims and litigation. Prior to joining Helio, Heather was Chief Risk Advisor for the National Healthcare Practice at Aon, a global risk and insurance services company. Prior to that role, Heather was Chief Risk Officer at the University of Oklahoma, the other university here in Oklahoma. I have three at OSU, so I got to get a little jab in there. She was over their health system, directing risk, claims, captive operations, and insurance structure, including property, cyber, directors and officers, employer liability, workers' comp, provider, professional liability, hospital liability, aviation, auto, and all other commercial and captive lines. Whew. It's a bunch.
Yeah.
Heather also served as the chief legal officer of the system's captive insurance company, saving the system millions over its years of highly successful operations. Heather's career began as a trial attorney defending organizations and medical providers in the law firm setting, trying multiple cases to juries as lead counsel. After 10 successful trials, she began a career as in-house counsel to a large organization in Texas, managing people and processes related to risk, claims, and litigation. That all is a mouthful.
Wow. Who wrote that? That's a lot.
I read it okay. But all that to say, Heather has substantial experience. Was it 15 or so years with OU?
OU.
Yeah, and
yes.
A lot of captive work there. Now, we had Heather on, and I jokingly called her the queen of captives, and I've had some people reference back to that. But probably almost 2 years ago that Heather was on, just talking captives. Today, though, we want to focus in. We're going to talk captives in general, but also we want to talk about the Oklahoma Captive Association, which you are helping lead.
Yes.
That you are in the middle of, with some others, reviving.
Right.
And so, Heather, we kind of read the bio, but what is it we don't know about you that wasn't in your bio?
Oh, wow. I am a gardener. I have a green thumb, and I have some tomatoes this season that are doing really well, really big, and I have had tomatoes every day for the past 2 months.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a lot of rain this year.
We have.
So
yeah,
that's
good.
helpful. Good. Okay. Anything else?
That's the most relevant thing, I think.
Dog lover.
Dog lover.
I do know that.
I love to be involved in rescue, and as you know, here in Oklahoma, we've got a big need for that. So I love to volunteer my time and others' times to rescue organizations.
And Heather is married to Casey, who is a very talented musician. I happen to know personally.
He is. And
they recently relocated out to a great lake setting here in northeast Oklahoma.
That's right. It's beautiful.
Right. Enough with that. That's good. We're glad you're with us.
Thank you for having me.
So the Captive Association.
Yes.
It was founded, I believe, in 2012.
Yes.
And now being revitalized. Tell us about that and how you got involved.
Right. So, back in 2012, actually, I remember attending some meetings that occurred, back then, over 10 years ago now, with some leaders here in Oklahoma City who were interested in forming and maintaining a captive insurance association. And so for whatever reason, that sort of fell by the wayside. Under your leadership, we have been encouraged about captives here in Oklahoma. And so a number of captive owners, as well as service providers to the captive industry, have come together now, some of whom are the same people who were involved in it to begin with, who have deep experience in the field, have come together and, as you said, revitalized, re-energized the Oklahoma Captive Insurance Association under a new board of directors. Actually, two of them had been board members from the previous version. But our goal this time is to build and maintain a sustainable energy around the captive insurance industry here in Oklahoma. And the situation here is different in Oklahoma now, of course, than it was 10 years ago. We have more captives. We have more infrastructure to support captives. We have banks with experience. We have service providers, law firms, captive management firms, all working together, even competitors working together to sustain a captive industry here. The legislation that exists now is much improved from 10, 12 years ago. We see businesses who had formed captives outside of Oklahoma but were Oklahoma companies coming back to Oklahoma. We have a number of members now in the Oklahoma Captive Insurance Association just in the past couple of months from every industry: healthcare, oil and gas, agriculture. Our board reflects that diversity as well. So we've got a board of directors of 7 members, including myself, but more importantly, captive owners, people who are there running captives, managing captives, as I used to do at OU, but who are doing that for businesses around the state. We have experts from outside of the state, but who place captives and insurance business here in the state who are also joining as members. So it's not just Oklahomans, it's experts from around the country who have this energy and enthusiasm now for Oklahoma as a domicile. Again, yeah. I know you didn't bring me on here to compliment you, but it has.
Of course I did.
But maybe you did. So it's easier now, and it is it's more productive and better efficiency and the economy around captives is better now.
Yeah.
So,
and you make a great point that the atmosphere, I guess the best word there, but was different back then. But the legislative changes that have taken place since then, I think the commitment on our department's side, and I mean we brought on, arguably one of the top captive directors, captive folks in the country.
Absolutely.
We've hired on a new analyst, and so there's a commitment and resources available for folks here. So
exactly,
it is just a changed environment. So
well, and to your point, Steve Kenyon, who is our new captive director here in Oklahoma, is amazing. He's got great ideas even for further improvements. And so working with the OCIA even over the last couple of months, we've been in touch with Steve. He's been in touch with us about ideas about approaching the legislature for some tweaks and improvements to the legislation that can help grow the captive industry even more.
Yeah. So with that changed environment, I'm just thinking of something, sort of a side note almost, the hardening of markets with admitted carriers, availability for liability coverage in certain arenas. How much does that impact the captive growth or not?
Yeah, it absolutely correlates to captive growth because, as you know, when markets harden and it becomes more burdensome for a business to purchase insurance from the commercial market, businesses begin thinking about what can we do. Alternatives. You can only cut premiums so much as the market continues, to harden, especially in lines that are really already expensive for businesses, large and small, to run. So what we see is businesses coming to us saying, what are the alternatives? What can we do? And captives make a very nice alternative to having everything in the commercial market. And so what we tell people is you don't have to put every line in a captive, right? You don't have to. You can if it's feasible, you can, but it almost always makes sense for a business to take the ownership of its own risk and then the benefit of the premium that they would otherwise pay out to the commercial market to keep that. Manage their risk efficiently and appropriately, and then receive those funds back in terms of, the lower risk profile, the distribution, the growth of surplus, the investment income that can come with taking those premiums and reaping the benefits of the investments yourself versus the commercial market. Still partnering with the commercial market, maybe on reinsurance or excess policies or, other things. But building a captive is a win-win.
Yeah. So that 4-minute Captive Insurance 101 brought to you by Heather McClure. That was a really great summary of that.
I've said this before many times, but it's always exciting to talk about. I'm always reinvigorated by it because, we talk about accountability and doing the right thing for our employees and our consumers. Whatever industry we're in, And a captive structure allows you to do that. You're not taking your risk and making it someone else's problem, in exchange for a premium. You are really taking a hard look at it, determining how you can make it better, seeing the numbers, realizing that it's economically beneficial to lower risk. And so, we're all human. We focus on what's in front of us and what we know about. And I think that boards and businesses who know about their risk in a captive structure are more focused on it philosophically than they are if they're seeding it out to someone else, another business.
Okay, so we've sort of covered the Captive Association mission, right?
Yeah.
Kind of developing energy and a foundation,
right,
to create some energy to keep that moving forward. Who should get involved? How does someone get involved?
Everybody around the captive industry should get involved. So captive owners, captive managers, any service provider to our industry, or prospective service providers should be involved. So around the captive industry, we do a lot of, and in every state and domicile, we do a lot of education around, just what I said, the Captive 101. But it's deeper than that. There are best practices to learn. And so one of the missions of the Trade Association, the OCIA, the Association of the Captive Industry here in Oklahoma, is to educate those in Oklahoma and outside of Oklahoma about best practices. And so that would be in risk management, in claims management, in investment management, in what kinds of lines to look at to put in captive structures. And so education is a huge mission of ours. And so anyone that's wanting to either receive or give information should be involved in the OCIA. The relaunch of the OCIA brought a new revitalized website to the old web address. Yeah, it's okcaptives.org. And so there's a membership link on the website, and it's very easy. We looked at a lot of domiciles to figure out, how we wanted to price membership. We don't want it to be burdensome for anyone. So we have an entity membership, meaning it's not every individual has to have their own membership, but a company who is a service provider, which is a service provider, is a $750 membership for everyone in their company. I think up to 20. So not everybody, up to 20. And then captive owners, it's $500. So again, though, for anyone associated with their captive or who wants to be involved. Our focus right now that maybe you will also want to know about is our captive conference, and so
that was next on my agenda.
I'm with you. So another focus that we have is in developing that education and membership benefits and the camaraderie and sort of networking that comes along with, a conference of any group of business individuals who are, banded together by their business. That's going to be in April of next year in Tulsa. We've selected a location, and the dates are April 15th through 17th. So you can remember tax day. We're starting with a golf tournament. So get done with your taxes, come play golf on the 15th, and then we'll start our education and networking piece on the 15th and 16th. I'm sorry, on the 16th and 17th.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we hosted, the insurance department did last year,
Yes.
IBT and Captive Conference, which was sort of a launch of that. Very successful. We had almost 300 people here.
Right.
And so from that, we've handed the baton to the Captive Association now to say, here, run with it. So last year was Oklahoma City. This year it will be in Tulsa.
That's right.
Led by the Captive Association at the
That's right.
Tulsa Club Hotel.
I think yes, it is going to be at the Tulsa Club Hotel in downtown Tulsa. So we're still working on the golf outing on exactly where that's going to be. So can't announce that yet, but the conference itself is going to be at the Tulsa Club. We're excited about that. So, and yes, thank you for hosting that last year. That was a huge launch. People came from all over the country to come to that. And so again, we're benefiting. The OCIA is benefiting from that conference and a lot of energy around what was done last year. We have big shoes to fill because that was so successful. So that
was a great.
We're going to replicate it
for this. So.
It was a catalyst. So we're hoping to be as successful. It's going to be, we really want people from Oklahoma City to go ahead and make the drive to Tulsa, stay overnight. But we're expecting a lot of out-of-town guests, too. We're going to have some great speakers. We have a program committee they've already been in touch with some national experts in tax and captive structure and lots of topics that I think are going to be great. And we're working on a keynote speaker that I think is going to be really exciting. So can't announce that yet, but I think it's going to be a draw as well.
Good. That's really exciting. Let's have that nailed down on the calendar. I think, Heather, that about wraps it up. Anything else with captives that you'd like to put out there as we wrap up this?
Well, I would just like to encourage everyone to go ahead and go on the website and gain membership to the OCIA, and then with that, you're going to be getting communications. We're not going to spam you, but we're going to give you communications about what's coming up. Not just the conference, but we have articles we're posting on the website. We have other networking activities that we're planning. So both in Oklahoma City and in Tulsa and other areas of the state, we're planning to try to get captive service providers and owners together in smaller groups around the state. And then at conferences that we all attend out of state. So some of the national conferences that we all, some of us attend, we're going to try to get our OCIA folks or people who do work in Oklahoma, which again is most of the major, organizations, brokerages, captive providers around the country do work in Oklahoma, but we're going to try to have some networking activities.
Great. That's really good. Heather, last time you were on about 2 years ago, I think when we wrapped up on the air, we then talked about the Captive Association.
Yes.
And I didn't volunteer you to do that, but I certainly nudged you to get engaged and help me get that going. And so thank you for that. But I promise you I have nothing after we go off the air to nudge you to take on
I'm ready if you do.
More, so.
I'm ready.
Okay. Well, thank you for being with us and sharing your knowledge and expertise. We look forward to the Captive Association growth and where they're going in the future. Again, that website?
okcaptives.org.
Okay.
Yes.
So go there, get information, get membership. Conference is April in Tulsa, April 15th through 17th.
2024.
2024.
That's right.
Very good.
Thanks very much.
Well, that wraps up our latest Mulready Minutes podcast. Thank you for joining us with Heather McClure, our Captives Queen. I'll stick with that moniker.
Thank you. At least in a small microcosm.
Well, good to have you with us, and thank you for joining us. We'll catch you next time.
If you found this episode informative, please subscribe and share with your colleagues. Visit oid.ok.gov/podcast. Let us know what topics you would like to hear about on this podcast. Until next time, take care from the Oklahoma Insurance Department.